Yeah, we'll see. I mean, let me say this. I say we'll see. He's played very well. Yes, he is. From coaching a lot of those guys you mentioned or being around a lot of those guys, the way Grant has handled himself this year and what he's been able to do in the offense, yeah, he's right up there with him. You know, and that's the thing about, you know, that I'm so happy for Grant is, you know, knew he was a good player, you know, coming out of high school, and he's proven that now, and he's got his opportunity, took advantage of it. He's ready to go finish Saturday night, and then figure out, you know, after that what we're going to do. But as far as the type of preparer and competitor that those guys are that are on that wall, he's right there with them. Statistically, when it's all said and done, we'll see where it all lines up, but he's got all those qualities that we talk about, those 5 that we've hit for a long time. He's got every single one of them, and he's excelled in those, and just really proud of him and proud of where he's at and what Coach Sanford's done with him.
People probably put too much winning on quarterbacks all the time, but how important is a conference championship to be able, as senior quarterback, to be able to say you led your team to a conference championship?
Yeah, I think that's huge. You know, I think that's what you hope. If you had asked any player or you'd asked Grant in the spring, if you had an opportunity to do that, he'd say, well, that's exactly what I want to do. Well, that's exactly what he has an opportunity to do Saturday night. So, you know, that type of stuff, we don't shy away from it. That's what we want to do. That's what he wants to do. That's what all those guys, you know, and seniors in particular, want to leave with is a championship. And, you know what, we got to go out there and get it done. But here's the fun part about it. You know, it's in our hands. That's the one thing. We're not relying on somebody else or numbers and all that to be co's and all that. We can go out there and it is in our hands to go out there and have an opportunity to play and win a championship. And I think in any game or any sport, that's exactly what you want. And we've got that opportunity.
You talked about, you know, when you first got here, embracing the past. Is this a chance for you guys to be almost a part of the past? I mean, last time there was an outright conference title won here was quite a few years ago now, or 2009, or you know, whatever it might have been. Is this a chance for, you know, this group of guys to be a part of the past and that winning tradition?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I wouldn't put it that way. You know, that was kind of a way of saying, hey, you know, guys that were here before, this is what we've done. Here's a way of getting it done, but we're a completely different team. No, we go out there and we win. We're not part of the past. We're completely new. It's Mountain West. You know, it's conference championship there, outright. That's different. You know, that's absolutely different. So, and I think that, to be fair to everybody, I mean, there's guys that have been here in the past and have been a part of that, but there's so many new. You know, it's a different team, and I think you look at it and say this is what we're capable of doing. But you know what we've done this year, or what we're able to do, hopefully, would be different. You know, and we want to start something. You know, I know this group wants to start something with this 2014 class.
I had to ask you the other day, what is Matt Bosen's status? Is he with you guys? Is he practicing? What is his status?
He is not with us right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will he be the rest of the season at all?
No.
Okay, so he won't practice anything the rest of the season? Okay, but he's
No.
still on the team?
Yes.
Okay.
Coach, in a big game like this, how do you keep you guys focused? I know, you know, with everything that's going on the whole week, the preparation, everybody knows it's coming. How do you keep you guys focused so that, you know, maybe a mistake that isn't magnified, so that they kind of are able to brush it off just like it's any other game, but to maybe also understand the importance of where they're at?
Yeah, well, I think that's been every week, I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's been a game that we've not taken the same type of approach. We wouldn't be in the position we're in if we did. You know, coming off the Air Force game, you know, I mean, that was one, you have 7 turnovers in a game. I think that's one you got to kind of take and look at and also, you know, kind of put it behind you and move on. But every single week's been the same mentality. Last week was big. I mean, think about that moment, you know, against Utah State. We had to go out there and perform against a really, really good football team that was on a high, just like us, played some good teams. So this is no different. I mean, we got to go out there and execute, do our jobs, play hard. And you know what? Bad things are going to happen. That's the one thing about football. It's not going to be perfect, not even kind of. Keep our poise, keep playing, and then, you know, hopefully have a chance to finish it at the end. That's what we talk about.
That Air Force game is obviously a turning point in the season, and you look at some guys have said maybe that they, you know, maybe did look past them a little bit in that game, and that the kind of 1-0 mentality that you guys established after that, it kind of kept that from happening. What was it about this team the last 7 weeks that they were able to, you know, guys like us saying, hey, you control your own destiny, blah, 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 that they've been able to just literally take that 1-0 thing to heart and not look past anybody?
Yeah, I think when you get throttled like that, and you look so poorly. And then you can look at college football in particular and watch every single week and all the shouldas and couldas, and they don't happen. And that's the beauty of the game. You know, if you take your foot off the pedal in this sport, you're going to get beat. And it's as simple as that. And you can go from hero to zero. And I think that's what we talked about every week. At the same time, I think we've enjoyed ourselves a whole lot more, throughout the season. There's a standard, that this place has had, and I think, after every game, and there's different ways teams respond, but, some teams in the past, you're done, it's like you're talking about the next team right there, and you know what, this team's a little bit different. You need to enjoy it. We had a win, a big win, enjoy each other, enjoy the opportunity to celebrate that and move on to the next one, and that's what we've been doing, and that's the beauty of this team. They're different, every year's different, and this team is tight, they're like a family, they enjoy it, win by 1, win by 50, that's just how it is. We're just trying to win, bottom line. So, we've enjoyed ourselves more. That's been a turning point. And I think just going to look at our season, how fast that can be taken away, then you better play and you better come prepared. But you better do it on Sunday and you better do it all the way through Saturday and not just show up and think you're going to win.
We've harped on how every team is different, how this team is different. But where does it rank in that pantheon compared to the other two teams that went to Fiesta Bowls? And I know they're all so different. But
Yeah.
have you figured that out yet, or do we not know for a few more weeks how that team?
No, we won't know that. I don't know if I'll even know that. You're talking different staffs, different time, different way of doing things. And, there's some comparisons as far as the seasons, and maybe what we're playing for and all that. But there's not, as far as the team goes, similar characters, because you kind of bring in the type of guys that fit your culture and all that, and the same type of bond, that those teams have had, but still a different mentality, different staff.
Based on the way college football has changed, is it more impressive to be on the precipice of that now than it was then?
I don't know yet. I've said this all year long. Everybody's asked about this playoff and all that. I still really don't quite have a great feel for it. I think everybody's trying to figure it out. We'll know what teams get in there. I look at it, and there's undefeated teams that are not ahead of, defeated teams and all that. It's still, I don't have all the answers to that. So I think when it's all said and done and this whole thing is over at the end of this year, we'll have a better comparison to what it's been. And there'll be adjustments and different things like that, but I'll have an answer for you then, when I see how it works out.
Earlier this week, we on Monday, you said at your press conference, if there's an award out there that Jay Ajayi and his, the numbers that he's put up is probably deserving of it. Since then, all Mountain West team came out, and the Player of the Year came out on the offensive side of the ball, and obviously it wasn't Jay. Just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. One, Garrett Grayson's a very good player, and he's deserved, the awards he's gotten. There's no doubt about it. So take nothing away from him. Would love to have him on our team as well. That guy's a good player. I think there's a lot of teams in the country that would take that guy. But Jay has done some things, quite frankly, that I haven't been around, as far as running, catching, protection. I think what I've seen in my career, he's the best back I've ever seen in pass protection. All right, so, yeah, I take a lot of, but I get to see it every day. I'm biased about what he's done. I know what he's done for this football team and how he's made guys around him better, and I also know the type of work ethic he has. So, but, hey, we can't control that. He got recognized, for being a good player. I think for him and what he wants to do, it's about this game, and it's about, having a chance to play beyond. And the way he handled himself and the way all this has gone, because he is a good player, I'm sure that was a hard decision to have to make between those two players, but, we get it, but I feel very strongly about him. I think that, he is the best, if not, right there with, the other players in this league. And I would say in the country, if you want to start doing comparisons from what his body of work is, and you can take all that and put it there with anybody else, it's really impressive.
How about, obviously you have a great appreciation for the program and having been around it for so long, but, this week he could also break Ian Johnson's rushing record here at Boise State. He needs 95 yards to do it. Just the fact that, he's obviously securing his spot, probably on some wall in the new football facility with the type of season he's having.
Yeah. The first thing I asked him if he had a girlfriend. in case he gets 96 yards in this game. I don't want to have any marriage proposals. No, I mean, you guys keep track of all this stuff. I tell you, I have no idea. I mean, I see the same things you guys put out there, and I read it, and I'm like, okay, I understand that. I'm sure Jay knows about it and other people, but those two guys, Ian's year that he had, if you want to go back to that in 2006, I mean, equally as impressive. You're talking from knees to ribs to everything to marriage and winning games and all that. I mean, that's an incredible year that he had in his entire career. So to be up there with Ian, we know what type of player he is. Says a lot about where Jay's at. But we're talking about Jay and everybody else around him. It doesn't happen. That was the same thing with Ian. I mean, we had a good football team, and we have a good football team. And so the guys around Jay are also making plays and helping him, and he knows that. And he'd be the first to recognize them. So, hey, if all those things happen and pan out, and I hope they do, because I think guys that are deserving of it, should have those type of awards and accolades and things like that. But the bottom line is every one of those guys that we're talking about, Ian or Jay, would say most important thing is winning with their team, because that's what they set out to do. We never set a record or never talked about in the beginning of the season, hey, we hope you get this, we hope you get this, and you get that. We talked about we having this, and that's where we are.
Coach, I remember after the last Fresno State game, I asked you about that 17-play drive that you had, and it was, I think, tied before that drive, and you guys had converted a couple fourth downs, a couple third downs, and I asked you if it was maybe too early to call it a defining drive for the season, but I mean, when you look back at that drive and what it did for you guys to win that game, and that was early on in your win streak and kind of, really pushed you guys forward. How big, maybe looking back, was able to have that kind of drive, take up half the quarter, establish yourself, and then score on the trick play and end up winning the game?
Well, that was huge. I don't know if it's defining because our season's not over yet, but that's probably right up there. I mean, up to this point, I would say it is. And that was really kind of one of the, I think it was, we had 2 fourth down conversions in that drive. And I think because of that, we came out with quite a bit of confidence. I think we started playing even better on the offensive side of the ball. But it said, you get in those situations and guys don't flinch. And that's probably the one thing that, you look at from a team standpoint. As a coach, you're always evaluating your team. And we had 2 fourth downs and guys don't flinch. And then since then, we've had a couple other fourth downs and same thing. It's just been execution, operation, fourth down, first down, doesn't matter. We try to operate the same way in all those situations. So up to this point, yeah, huge. When it's all said and done, that might be the defining one that, for the offensive side of the ball that changed the season.
When's the last time you ever made 2 teams in one season? Remember that?
Pee Wee football? I don't know. Optimus football? I have no idea. I'm trying to think. I don't think we ever did it any other place.
Boise State hasn't done it since 1990.
Yeah, I remember the Houston team.
Yeah.
So, the challenge in that and that fact, you've even mentioned it, even since you played that, both teams are a lot different. So I don't know if you can take much from that game.
Well, it's not like, I think Stanford played UCLA one year and they turned right around and played them again, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Wasn't that
team?
back-to-back?
Yeah, it was like
Stanford
back-to-back.
was there.
Yeah, so it's not like that. You've seen that in the NFL and some weird things have come up that way. So I think there's enough time in between. You can go back and watch, but I still think those guys that played so much snaps between those 2 games, it's really hard to just say, oh, yeah, I remember that. You watch it and you might recall it. So I don't know. I think there's too much time. I think there's enough time in between where it's not going to be, weird for everybody when they come out there. And then the teams that we played, some common opponents and all that too, it feels more normal, like a normal game, like you're prepping for a normal game rather than, hey, we just played this team and, what do we got to go back and figure out? We're in a different stage, with our team. They're in a different stage, and, here we are. We got to show up and do what we've been doing to get that win.
Good.
Good?